Hi, here's Michael Leander. So I'm finding, as you may know, interesting professionals, not just any professional, but the real experts in the area of marketing and loyalty and direct marketing and digital marketing and CRM and social media and so on. And today I'm in Sofia, that's the capital of Bulgaria. I'm here with one of the foremost loyalty marketing authorities, one of the people with the most experience you can imagine. And I'm, of course, interviewing him on behalf of Marketing Telly and the GMA and myself, Michael Leander. His name is Chris Jacobs, and here's what he and I talked about just a few minutes ago. Hi, Chris. Could you tell us about who you are and what your background is?
Yeah, okay. I'm from the UK. These days I'm an independent customer loyalty consultant. In the past I've started and grown two companies offering customer loyalty services, but now I'm on the other side of the fence. So I generally work with retailers, banks, telcos, at the point where they're considering whether they should join a loyalty program or not, or if they're in one, they're considering whether to exit. And I think most organisations do this once a year. When it's coming up to marketing budgeting time, then they will see whether they need to allocate a budget for this. So I help them look at the reasons why they should or shouldn't join a scheme, look at the strategy, cost-benefit analysis, help them to sell it to the board, because it's generally the marketing director who wants it and the finance director who doesn't, because he sees the costs. But it is a board decision, it's a big decision. It's not like buying a new accounting system or a stock control system. Loyalty is about increasing revenue. So there is some element of risk there, so it needs to be taken seriously. And as I say, the CEO needs to buy into this, or it just otherwise won't work. So that's where I'm positioned today.
Oh, excellent. So could you tell us a little bit about what are the current trends you're seeing across Europe within the whole loyalty space?
Yeah, interesting. Just before I answer that specific question, I should say loyalty's come a long way since it was first launched 20 years ago, I guess. When it was first launched, it was all about points make prizes, but that quickly, retailers, organisations quickly realised that it was the data that was important, the data on the customers, so their purchasing patterns, their behaviours. So if you think that, take a retail organisation, they all adopted EPOS some years ago to get a strong hold on their products, which products sell in which stores, at what time of the day, what day of the week. So they have chapter and verse on their products, so they can replenish at the drop of a hat. The missing dimension is the customer. Which customers are buying those products in those stores at what time of the day? And it's seen more these days, certainly in the mature markets, as almost a must-have tool. So the tool is to acquire the customer data. The method of collecting that data, or the mechanic I should say, almost doesn't matter. In a retail situation, because they don't know who their customers are, then the customer needs some identity so they can identify them at the point of sale. So that data can be collected. So that's why we have loyalty programs. They've certainly evolved over the years. These days it's quite important to have real-time interaction at the point of sale. So no longer are batch type programs appropriate. So for example, the best programs these days, when the card is presented or whatever the ID is presented at the point of sale, then the contents of that basket are then in real time transmitted to a central database which analyses that basket, the contents of the basket, looks at the profile of that customer, looks at their past purchasing behaviour, and delivers them highly targeted offers at the point of sale, which will be more meaningful to the customers. And the response rate to those targeted offers, as you can imagine, is vastly increased from previous. But I guess the sort of very latest trend is more towards mobile. So mobile will figure quite strongly, not just for payment, but for delivering up-to-date marketing information, depending on the location of the customer. So geo-fencing of customers to know where they are knowing what their interests are, then they can be delivered some sort of incentive to visit a store, restaurant, or whatever it may be, in the location that they're in. And I think that will be a big trend. Interestingly enough, Marks and Spencer in the UK are just about to introduce payment by mobile. So where possible it would be NFC, but NFC isn't that well rolled out yet. But there'll be other mechanisms on that phone, using barcodes or pins, whatever. But certainly mobile has got a big part to play in the future.
Could you just, for those who don't know, tell us what NFC is?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's near-field communication. So this is contactless payment, which Barclaycard have in the UK, and I think in Bulgaria here, it's reasonably common these days. So it's a one-touch, and it recognises the card, so there's no inserting or swiping. It's a contact. It's like the I don't know, you've seen the Oyster card on the tubes. So you have a card, you just touch it as you go through the gate, and the gate opens.
Yeah.
And that's what will happen in the future.
So do you think that opens up the door for even very small retailers, for example, to establish their own micro reward system?
Yes, indeed, and you see that now. I guess you'd say more so in America than here. But there's a solution which uses mobile phone, and all the retailer has to do is to plug in one of these dongles into their ePOS, and when the customer presents their phone or their card, then it recognises them through this dongle and has the opportunity of picking up exactly what products they purchased. Now, linking that to a central database has not really been achieved yet, but it's only a small step to get there. But I guess the problem for small businesses is that to use the data mining techniques that the larger companies can do is a very expensive exercise. Clearly they've got smaller numbers of customers, so it's not such a big issue, but if we say that it's the data that gives us the value, then those guys are going to struggle. Maybe the small businesses should in fact join a coalition where the cost of entry will be a lot less, the cost of operation lower, and they can effectively share the direct marketing, the data mining, so it'd be more cost effective for them.
That's very interesting, Chris. So how can people get in touch with you if they want to know more and maybe talk to you about their loyalty marketing initiative?
I guess the simplest way is to just look for me on LinkedIn. Type in Chris Jacobs to LinkedIn, I'm sure you'll find me. My email address is too long for you to remember probably. It's chrisjacobs@businessassist.com. So that's business spelt normally. The assist piece is ASSYST.com.
Oh, great.
I look forward to hearing from you.
Great name. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Thanks, Michael.